And this is something that, no, focus on me. There it is. Okay, now it's focusing on me. I want to talk about happiness, and as it pertains to our playing, our music, our practice time. Because it seems no matter how much we practice or how much we get better, we are always getting better if we're consistently practicing in a focused manner, in a deliberate way. We're moving ourselves forward, tracking our progress, all those good things. We're getting better, but then we don't seem to be so happy. And so we have to figure out, why is that? What's that deal? And there's something called and I'm going to set this camera down so I can actually talk. The Hedonic Treadmill. This is something that all humans have, and it's a theory, and to me it rings really true, and that is that we have a certain level of happiness. We have a happiness set point that we always go back to, regardless of really good things happening or really bad things happening. So, you know, what exactly does that mean for like our drumming and things? But before we get there, it's time for a drum break from one of my favorite drummers. That was Chris Daddy Dave. The man is invincible. He's really amazing. Look him up. Anyway, so the Hedonic Treadmill or hedonic adaptation, we have this, the idea is that we have this happiness set point. So in general, we have a certain level of happiness throughout life. And whether we have a negative event like a car accident, or whether we have a super positive event like, let's say we get a raise at work, or we have a great day, or somebody gives us a car, or something like that. We always come back to this happiness set point. It's just kind of human nature to do that. Now, some things they found make huge lasting changes. So for instance, changes to your overall quality of life, the four walls, food, shelter, clothing, transportation, those types of things. So let's say you were going from having no car to all of a sudden someone gifted you a car, and that was a huge life change because you were able to go get a job, and then you were able to go from making $5,000 a year and living on food stamps and welfare to making $50,000 a year because you had transportation. That's a huge life increase of quality. And so we're gonna see a happiness level go way up because that kind of raises our happiness set point, right? But that's generally not the kind of life changes we're looking at. They found that the difference between a person that makes the happiness level, between a person that makes $50,000 and a person that makes $350,000 is pretty negligible, right? So at some point, it doesn't matter how much money we make. At some point, all those things don't matter. So let's take this to drumming and music. Go back to whenever you first learned you're first learning the drums, or some of you are first learning the drums. You're having these huge advances. I literally remember sitting in my practice room, in the corner of the room, I was looking at this wall that had carpet on it. I don't know why the wall had carpet on it, just had red shag carpet. I guess it was made in the 70s. And anyway, and we never tore it down. So I'm looking at that wall, and I remember discovering for myself 16th notes. I remember discovering that I could play 4 notes to every beat, and I remember just playing, and I literally thought I had discovered this new thing, and I went and I'd only had a couple lessons. I showed my teacher, and he's like, oh yeah, it's 16th notes, and I'm like, of course it is. People have done this before, but the happiness I felt from that first discovery outlasts all the other things that I've done, right? The happiness I felt from first setting up my drum set and playing along to my very first song, which was Weezer's Blue album, the Sweater Song, in case you're wondering. The happiness I felt there, massive compared to the happiness I feel after a successful practice session, right? Because those were huge quality changes for me. I went from not being involved in music to being involved in music. I went from not having this tool or resource to all of a sudden being like, oh wow, 16th notes, and discover from there. But as we progress on the instrument, you'll find that you have this hedonic treadmill, and the reason they call it a treadmill is because we're always running to stay in the same place. So even though you improved the day before, that may only last, sometimes it doesn't even last an hour outside of the practice room, and we're back to the same place of going, I'm never going to improve, this is something they call abundance denial. Despite the fact that you can play on a level that was incomprehensible to you, I think that's a word, years back, you're now so sad because you can't play this one thing, and because you can't play that one little thing, that means you can't play anything, and you might as well just quit, right? That's like, you're laughing, but that's literally what happens with abundance denial. Time for another drum break. These random drum breaks are becoming one of my favorite things. That was Ari Honig. He has been a favorite of mine for years and years and years and years. Guy's just a monster in the jazz world. So, abundance denial. It's looking at all these things that we can do and then denying that they're there and focusing on just the one thing. We as humans have this tendency to focus on the negative things. And so, in your practice time, try to adjust your goals, adjust your viewpoint, adjust how you see your practice time, and don't just focus on those negative things. But when you do, when you're out of your practice session, you had a great practice session, and then an hour later you're like, oh man, crap, I'm back in the same place, I'm never gonna, like that thought pattern, when that comes back up, just remember the Hedonic Treadmill, remember the, oh man, I did my like best President Obama, or who else did this, Bill Clinton, like, you know, I do not know Monica Lewinsky. Anyway, children, plug your. So the next time, think about the Hedonic Treadmill, hedonic adaptation. Think about those things, and then remember the abundance denial theory, and think about those things and think, you know what, it's probably me getting better, and I'm just ignoring everything great that I can do. We just have to try to get out of those old thought patterns. Sometimes for me, just knowing that the thought pattern is there helps me to get over it. So anyway, I talked to a lot of students, a lot of drummers, a lot of you message me and stuff, and it's the head game that we're spending all of our time on these days, and we just have to realize that it's not that bad. It's just not that bad. And what you're fighting is a natural thing. It's just human nature, and it's what drives us to always be better, to always go to higher places. One of the things, I will say in closing, one of the things they found that helps you get a new happiness set point, so in other words, raise your happiness set point, is acts of kindness, believe it or not. And so I think that just helps give you a wider world view of like, the world's not all about me and my drumming and me. It's about other people. And if we focus on helping them, you can have pretty much anything you want in life if you'll help enough people. And I'm quoting someone, and now his name, I can't remember his name. Anyway, but I just wanted to take a second and kind of discuss that with you guys because I hear from you a lot. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Most of the videos are drumming videos or about drums or things with some motivation and things thrown in there. So hopefully that'll help you the next time you have a great practice session and 2 hours later you're feeling like the world is crumbling and you're Chicken Little grabbing your helmet. So whatever you do, I'll see you here in the next video.